Brett. I thought of something this morning that I want to share with you guys. And that is when you start to do this work of having a mindset transformation that takes you out of the negative loop, what you're going to realize is that those thoughts that normally would pop up, it could be fear, anger, doubt, worry, whatever thought would pop up and normally fuck you up into a tailspin and take you out of balance. I call it balance. We all try to go through life balance. You like to have a good amount of balance in your life, an emotional balance. When you're emotionally balanced, things feel pretty good. When you're emotionally out of balance, that's when you feel not so good. That's when you're feeling like life has control over you. So what I'm trying to share with you right now is that when you do the work, and I look at thoughts, if you look at thoughts as if they were bait, the thought pops in your head. And I would always relate this to, you ever see the guys on the charter boat fishing? They fish for those big tuna, the sailfish. They have their line in the water, that fish takes that bait and just takes off with it. And they're trying to reel that sucker in. If you think of that thought as that fish that takes you away, carries you away, keeps going, and it's like almost like a lament and ruminate. It takes you away, takes you out of balance. Can you relate to that? I went through that shit for a long time, and I became very good at ruminating. It's almost like I couldn't turn it off. I would think of something, and that thought would escalate and compound and gain momentum. Before you know it, I was I don't know where I was. I was out in another world because that one little thought. So if you look at the thought as a bait, and normally what's going to happen is that you bite the bait and then you're gone. That's it. You're down a rabbit hole. You're carried away with that one thought. But when you do the work and you really become self-aware, what you're going to notice is that, yes, habitually, you'll recognize the thought, okay? You'll say, oh shit, there's that thought. But there's almost like a pause that you don't bite that thought. You don't bite the bait. And when that happens, like, damn, I didn't bite. There was the thought. It didn't fuck me up because I didn't bite at it. I didn't fall for it. And that's how you know you're onto something pretty cool. And it's going to happen. It will happen if you take the time to work on yourself and self-awareness and realize just non-judgmental observation of your thoughts. You begin to recognize a pattern and you just step back and observe as if you were the lifeguard on at the beach watching the waves roll in without getting caught up in them. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm trying to share as much as I can with you guys in a way that you understand it, because I've been through a lot of some really bad shit, and to get on the other side of it, it feels so much better. And I know that there's a lot of you listening to this right now that are deep into it, but you'll hear me say this every video. Don't lose hope on it, because you can get out of it. Again, if I got my ass out of it, and as deep as I was in it, you can too. There's no fucking doubt. There's no doubt that if you stop, relax, understand, it's just, you're just going through a depressed or anxious or a state of being. That's all it is. It's a state you're in. It's no more than having a broken arm. You're not the broken arm. You're not the depression. You're not the anxiety. You're not that mental health disorder. You are going through a phase. It's a state of being. I broke the cycle. You can break the cycle. So getting back to what I'm saying earlier, the thought now just becomes a thing. You're not consumed by the thought. you're able to recognize it and step back and say, okay, there it is. But wait a minute. It didn't get my normal reaction that it usually gets. And that's how you know you're onto something really good. Your work is starting to pay off. And then you take that feeling of, wow, that felt pretty good. You take that feeling into your next meditation, and you ask yourself, who would I be without that negative thought, without being attached? Who would I be without being attached to that negative thought? And then remember, when you step back from that, you create that space, and in that space is emotional freedom. What does that feel like to you? We do everything as human beings out of a feeling. We do everything for a feeling. I talked about this before. Everything we do is for a feeling. So how would you feel if you weren't attached to that negative thought? How would you feel if you weren't attached to the feelings of depression? Then sit on that. What would that feel like to you not to be consumed by the depression, consumed by the anxiety? Remember, understand that. Think about that. Who would you be and how would you feel without the thing that you're attached to? And when you start to create that space, you find yourself experiencing emotional freedom. And then you compound on that. Use that as a wow. That even if it's a blink of an eye, it's still a better feeling than being consumed by it. It's still a minute break. Before you know it, that break becomes bigger and more and more and more of a break. And that's what you're aiming for. So you guys, I wanted to share that with you today. And again, send me any questions you have. Let me know what you're going through. I've been through a lot, and I know you can get through your shit too. And I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Until next time, be bold.